Hi and welcome to my art talk. So this is the last one before the summer break. So I've got a lovely backdrop behind my trusty board here of summer sun and swimming pool. If you're around, come in and have a look. It'll be guaranteed to cool you down. But today, to give you something to think about over the summer break, I want to think about art. What is art, right? So we've got ourselves, here's a little human being, right? We've got three powers. We've got the power of speech. We've got the power of movement. And we have, you included, the power of art. And you're like, no, I can't even draw a house. I couldn't even draw that stick man you just drew. That's true, maybe. But you dress yourselves in the morning. You maybe put makeup on. You serve dinner, maybe on a nice plate, carefully arranged. These are all things that require the power of art. Because the power of art is the power of form. It allows us to give our life shape. It doesn't mean, like Boyce said everyone's an artist. That's not true. Only those who make artworks are artists. He actually stole that quote from a guy called Schleiermacher, and he halved it. If everyone was an artist, then why did Boyce get a nice salary as an art professor? Because if everyone's an artist, you wouldn't need to teach art, would you? So there you go, there's a hole in his argument and all those postcards declaring everyone's an artist. We actually are probably more like a work of art, every one of us. So we've got the power of form. This helps us to give our life shape. As I said, it's the way you live your life. As humans, we need to learn to walk. Yeah? You need to learn to walk as a baby. We don't get born and we stand up. We need to learn to talk. And here's the thing that we hardly ever learn these days. We don't learn about art. We don't learn the most important thing, how to give our life shape. Because to learn that, we would need to look at a lot of works of art. It would be the best thing in schools if kids had to go to a museum at least once a week. And then they had to draw from what they saw and from memory and make up pictures or stories or pieces of music. Because with art, by looking at art, it's a fairly undangerous way looking at artworks, not art. That's the problem with the language. The English language is not so specific, and we tend to call everything art. But if everything's art, we've lost what art is. So by looking at lots of different artworks, you can teach people and show them that there are lots of different opinions out there. Their opinion, their idea isn't the only one on the planet. You are one of many, and every one of us has the opportunity or the ability to bring something unique to the world. So we need to learn, we need to be taught about form, we need to be taught about aesthetics. Otherwise you end up with some rather ugly cities, as you can see in some places. And the simplest way, I said, of doing this is by looking at a work of art. However, only those who make artworks are artists. And Immanuel Kant, the German philosopher, also said something important. He said artworks have to be communicable. That means we have to understand them. Looking at artworks that we don't understand doesn't help. And a 5-page essay about that work of art is not the point. Then it's not a work of art if it needs to be explained to us. Nature. So we've got nature. Here's a lovely plant growing. Nature is caught in its own rules. Nature the plants have to flower in summer. They don't start suddenly flowering in winter. Animals give birth in spring. There are certain rules that we can find in nature, and nature will always harmonize. If you look at Chernobyl, it looks quite beautiful now with all the plants growing. However, things we can make, the forms we can make, because we're humans and we can reflect and think about things, are free. We're not tied to giving birth to works of art in spring or to bring them to floral fruition in summer. We are free. And there's the difference. Everything that nature makes is natural, is harmonized. Everything we make in our free forms, everything humans make, is culture. So your swimming pool, your Porsche, or your wobbly kitchen chair is just as much culture as that's what's hanging in the National Gallery in London. It's all made by humans. It's not nature. Culture is basically everything that is not nature. And then, of course, you have artworks, which are a heightened form of culture. And I don't want to sound snobby or difficult or sort of like, this is better than normal. It's a necessary thing that we humans make. We've been making artwork since we were in caves. So we need that, but it's not every day. For example, if I'm talking to you now, I'm talking to you in normal language, right? You can understand me. If I started talking to you in poetry and I said, oh, I have to love the dove and so on and so forth, I love poetry, but it's not your everyday language. It's a heightened form of that language. It's a more crafted form. And the same goes for works of art, for paintings. For me, works of art, of course, always paintings, because I'm a painter and a printer. And so I make works of art that have to show more than the everyday. I don't want to copy nature. I want to increase it, to add something to it, my own feeling. Every work of art is a highly individual process for the artist who's making it. So there you go. This is my last art talk before the summer. I'll take my board away so you can see my lovely cooling paintings, because I always go to the swimming pool in summer, the local open air pool, and I take my paints with me and I paint pictures. I swim my 10 lengths or 20 lengths and then I paint something. And over the years, a nice little collection has come together, and I'm showing that in my studio at the moment, if you happen to be near Basel. If not, I'm going to put some of them on my website, so you can have a look there. You can see they're all available for purchase, of course. As an artist, even we have to live off something, and it's not all air and no bills, unfortunately. So yeah, go to my website. I hope you enjoyed this week's art talk, and remember, you are free. You are not tied in nature's rules. You have part of you is nature, but a lot of you is human beings, something special, something unique that allows you to decide freely over your life and give your life shape. Because if we don't have any shape, if we don't have any form, we end up being in an arbitrary pool of mess. And that's pretty much what's happening in the world today. And art, we need to be able to talk about works of art. We need to be able to communicate. Everything we have, the power of speech, the power of movement, the power of art, is all about communication. And the less we learn how to communicate, the more lonely we become. So don't be lonely this summer. Go meet a friend on the beach. Go for a swim in the public pool with other people and have a great time. Thank you. Drop a like below if you like this talk. Follow me. Have a look around my website. And I'll see you in the autumn. Thank you. Bye-bye.